happening. A lot of times these are political things, these are government things. And we're going to take those messages and we're going to send them out to elected officials, some of whom are here tonight. And we're going to go all the way up the food chain to President Biden, and we're going to send him the original notebook that we're going to start tonight. And we're going to keep the notebook going for a while after tonight, and then we will make sure that he receives it. So I ask you to sign our Book of Peace. Tushar named it for us. And we will share our ideas with world leaders, let them know how we feel. We need a lasting ceasefire of hostilities. And we'll compile your thoughts, and we will send them out. So tonight, this is the biggest crowd we've ever had. So it's wonderful to have you. I'd like representatives of the following organizations, and even if you just work there, it's okay too, to please stand up and be recognized, because we could not have done any of this without your help. University of Dayton, Paul. Sinclair Community College. Tennille, yeah. Wright State University Boonshoff School of Medicine. Teria Rosie. The National African American Museum and Cultural Center. Kevin Leidy. The Ruby Girls. Are there any Ruby Girls here? Okay. The AC Hotels of Dayton. Anyone from the AC Hotel? They probably have a lot of room service and things. Dayton Metro Library. Anyone from? I wasn't sure if Gary was going to stand up or. The Flame of Hope organization. Oh, right here. And they traveled from Wisconsin, Canada, Netherlands. You thought you had a long drive. People from Centerville, like. Think TV, PBS, and WYSO. Greg Shell is here somewhere. Hall Hunger Initiative. They have fed us 2 nights in a row. Delish. Anyone from Delish? Teria Rosie, right here. You get to stand up twice. From Wright State University. And Gregory Shell again. Okay. At this point, I'd like to ask Robin Kessler, Tom Roberts, and Steve Brown, who are board members, to come up on the stage. And Darius Beckham, who's senior policy aide for Dayton, Ohio's mayor's office, is here. I'd like for him to come up as well. There he is. And I'd also like Deputy District Director Eugene Sanders from Congressman Mike Turner's office. And Carolyn Rice of Montgomery County. Okay, so we should start locally. So I think for the city, do you have something you would like to present? Yes. Okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I am here on behalf of our mayor, Mayor Jeffrey J. Mims, who could not make it this evening. But Kevin was right. You really are a beautiful crowd tonight. So thank you for coming out. I know it's raining and dark, but I have this proclamation on behalf of the city. I'll go ahead and read it. From the City of Dayton, Office of the Mayor. Whereas the Dayton International Peace Museum, in collaboration with the City of Dayton and with the esteemed community partners, is launching the City of Dayton's first annual observance of a season for nonviolence. And whereas the objectives of this initiative seamlessly align with the mission of the Dayton International Peace Museum, emphasizing the promotion of peace, understanding, and nonviolent conflict resolution within our city. And whereas the Dayton International Peace Museum seeks formal recognition from the City of Dayton to underscore the importance of a season of nonviolence, and whereas a comprehensive series of events and programs centered around nonviolence and peace building are meticulously planned by the Dayton International Peace Museum and its dedicated community partners during this period, and whereas the City of Dayton recognizes and values initiatives that contribute to a culture of nonviolence, understanding, and unity. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey J. Mims, on his behalf, Mayor of the City of Dayton, do hereby proclaim January 27th through April 4th, 2024, as a season for nonviolence in the City of Dayton. It is signed by the mayor and affixed with the city seal. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give that to you.
Thank you.
So we're going to go to the county level now? Yeah.
I also have a proclamation. I'm not going to read all of it because it copies some of the things that you said. So I will cut down to, whereas the Dayton International Peace Museum hosts Tushar Gandhi and the Reverend Joel King, Gregory Foster, and Brian Polkinghorn, pioneers in conflict analysis and dispute resolution, to commemorate this occasion. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners supports and encourages residents, local businesses, educators, and community and faith-based organizations to join together in the efforts to eliminate conflict, ensuring everyone can have secure, safe, violence-free futures. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners on this day does hereby recognize, support, and thank all of those involved in this incredible work, including the Dayton International Peace Museum and our esteemed panelists, as they work together towards a brighter future. It is our honor. This is signed by myself, Carolyn Rice, and my fellow commissioners, Judy Dodge and Debbie Lieberman.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you.
And Mike Turner's office?
Thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight on behalf of Congressman Turner. Once again, being the third in line to read a proclamation, I won't read everything that you've already heard, but just wanted to share one line with you that I think should be shared. I encourage all citizens to participate in the 64-day initiative dedicated to demonstrating that nonviolence is a powerful way to heal, transform, and empower our lives and our communities. And I think that's a very central message that we can all agree with. So thank you, and I'd be happy to present this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Tell Mike who really.
Okay, thank you very much. So next I'd like to introduce the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Greg Schell.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Schell, chairman of the board here at the International Peace Museum. On behalf of the board of directors, the International Peace Museum staff, and our community partners, we really thank you for being here tonight for the launch of the 2024 Season for Nonviolence. This meaningful initiative spans 64 days between the death dates of Gandhi's assassination and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s, symbolizing a powerful journey towards healing, transformation, and empowerment through nonviolence. A Season for Nonviolence is not just a moment, it's a movement. It's an educational media grassroots campaign dedicated to showcasing the potency of nonviolence in shaping lives and communities. It's a collective effort demonstrating that nonviolence is a force capable of bridging social divides and fostering a peaceful society. At the heart of our mission is the promotion and sharing of the principles of nonviolence. Together with organizations across the nation, we strive to create a more inclusive, understanding, and compassionate society, contributing to the building of bridges that span communities both here at home and across America. So during these next 64 days, the International Peace Museum, in collaboration with our community partners, will host a series of special events creating spaces for dialogue and reflection. To amplify our message, we are collaborating with public media stations to share special television and radio programming that explores the transformative power of nonviolence. The Peace Museum's website serves as a national hub for this initiative. It offers comprehensive calendar of events, suggested reading list, media galleries, educational resources for the classroom, and interactive experiences. This curated platform is designed to empower individuals with the knowledge and tools to take meaningful action towards a more peaceful world. So please, make sure you check it out. In fact, check it out more than once. Through the entire season of Nonviolence, you should go and check it out. I think you're going to be inspired. So as we embark on this collective journey, let us commit to embracing a season for nonviolence with open hearts, knowing that by doing so, we contribute to the creation of a world where peace prevails and the principles of nonviolence guide our path. Together, right here in Dayton, Ohio, the city of peace, let us be an example to the world. Together, let us be the change that we wish to see in the world. Thank you for being here tonight and for supporting the International Peace Museum. It is now my privilege to introduce representatives from the Flame of Hope.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. And we're so happy to be here. We've experienced such a welcome and such warmth from the Peace Museum and from Dayton in general. I want to introduce our delegation here. We're an International Flame of Hope delegation here. This is Marin Croth. She's my great niece, and she is great. We drove here from Madison, Wisconsin. And next to me is Miwa Tamamoto. She flew here from the Netherlands. She's the ambassador for the Flame of Hope from the Netherlands. And Yuzan Toyota is the Canadian ambassador. He lives in Montreal, where he is a Buddhist priest, a teacher, and a human rights activist. And one thing I wanted to just mention about some of the work that Miwa has been doing is working with communities, promoting healing and really helping the people in the Balkans. And I mention it because I know Dayton is this place of the peace accords. So if you wish to talk with her more about that afterwards, please do. My notes. The International Flame of Hope was founded to unify people, no matter their religion, their class, their race, their ideology, their beliefs, their country, their ethnicity. And also, in doing this unification, we're wishing to promote the giving heart, altruism, promote healing, and promote peace and justice. And in a word, we could say all of that is nonviolence. And here we really feel strongly the spirit of nonviolence and peace and honoring these two ancestors. We could certainly say are the ancestors of the Gandhi family and the Martin Luther King family, but in a way, aren't they all our ancestors? right? They're all of ours. So praise be to them. And may we carry their legacies forward. The courage, the peace, and the commitment to do the right thing. This unity that the Flame of Hope is about, it actually is at the bottom of our hearts. We all have this sense, we all have this wish for unity. And it's the same place where we carry our own pain, the pain of others and the pain of the world. This place at the bottom of the heart where we are one. We're all interconnected innately. And it's also the place where we really want the best for the world, for our children, for our families, for the world, wanting the best. Peace, joy, healing, freedom. Oh, maybe. Yeah, thank you. And the Flame of Hope aims to provide light for people who have been and are being persecuted, and to sow seeds of hope to resolve the world's most challenging issues, such as ending racism, ending human trafficking, eliminating nuclear weapons and the threat of war, achieving peace in the Middle East, eliminating environmental degradation, and stopping religious discrimination and discrimination of all kinds. The Flame of Hope as a living symbol, the actual flame, I'm going to talk about that now, it unifies the most historic and sacred flames of the world. And so far there are 15 that are combined into the Flame of Hope. And it really is the real deal. It's not just symbolic. Like the Olympic flames, we travel with them across oceans and nations. I'll just tell you about a few of them. So one of the first ones that was added from the Hiroshima flame, the embers from the atomic bombings that destroyed Hiroshima in 1945. There was a man devastated by the loss of his family and his city and his future. And he took these embers home and he kept them. He kept them with a feeling of anger and revenge for several years, until something happened. His heart shifted, and he decided to make this into a symbol of peace, world peace. So this is now in Hoshino, Japan. You can see the peace flame. This is one of the first flames that started off the Flame of Hope in Japan. The eternal flame of Yad Vashem at the Holocaust Museum in Bethlehem is inside. The peace light from the birthplace of Jesus. The peace flame from the birthplace of the Buddha. And when the Flame of Hope first came to North America, which was just 2022, we were invited and honored to go to Atlanta, to the King Center. And it was there that we were able to unify the flame, the eternal flame of Martin Luther King with the Flame of Hope. And then just last year, this month, there was a pilgrimage in India, and we went to Delhi, and then we met Tushar Gandhi then, and we had a very moving ceremony at Rajghat, where Mahatma Gandhi's eternal flame was also unified into the Flame of Hope. If you have any thoughts or ideas about other flames that should be in the Flame of Hope, please talk to us and join us, because the flame, it doesn't belong to our organization. It's really a people's flame. It's for everybody. And in this spirit, the second thing I really want to share with you about the Flame of Hope is that it contains people's wishes and prayers from all around the world, their heartfelt dreams for the world and for the future. And so far we count them. We have 180,000 about wishes into the Flame of Hope. In a few minutes, we're going to invite you to add your wishes into the flame. As humans, we really need symbols to connect us to something greater than ourselves, to the infinite spirit in ourselves and in the universe, in life. So we really wish that this flame of hope is a manifested eternal spirit for all, and that can really guide us forward through all times, for all religions, and all generations. So, without further ado, I'd like to present to you the flame of hope.
चामरकर्ण विलंबित सूत्र वाहिना मूषिक वाहन मोदक हस्त चामरकर्ण विलंबित सूत्र वामन रूप महेश्वर पुत्र दीन विनायक पाद नमस्ते मूषिक वाहन मोदक हस्त चामरकर्ण विलंबित सूत्र वामन रूप महेश्वर पुत्र दीन विनायक
Wow, wasn't it cute? They're so cute. Man. So, yes. Now I would like you to, if you want, I'd like you to add your wish to the frame. So, and let's prepare. So, what's your real wish? Real wish, you know, like a hidden wish, and that's the nonviolent and peace, freedom. That's all that. So, I would like you to prepare and follow my instruction a little bit. So it's please recognize your heart. It's not the heart as a blood pump, okay? It's more spiritual existence, the heart. Okay, please recognize your heart now. So, and like Annie was explaining before, the place, the part of their heart, the store your pain. That's the part your real wish is in there. So, okay, you feel that? Feel this. Hi. What the real wish is? It's pain. Is that wish? No. Your wish is under the pain that you don't want anyone else, especially, you know, that children who dance now, next generations, to feel the same pain you hold. You don't want that. That's your wish. So everyone's wish is that. Everyone has this. So please recognize that wish for a while, okay, to add your wish into the frame. But to start with, our very special guest, Tushar Gandhi and Reverend King, to start with first, if you don't mind. Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Reverend King, would you kindly add your wish to the flame of hope?
We want to wish our world become more peaceful in our final days of this generation, that we can pass that peace to the next generation.
Thank you. Tushar Gandhi, would you please add your wish to the flame of hope?
Well, I wish that the flame of hope illuminates the darkness of fear and hate in this world and makes it a better place.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, please, everybody together, feel that wish and throw that wish into the flame, please. Okay, bell on. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. We are honored to be with you and to receive all your wish here into the Flame of Hope. And thank you for welcoming us here. And we wish you, everyone, the bright future, the full of happiness and love and freedom, equality, mutual understanding. And we will keep all your wish into this flame of hope, it will travel all over the world to spread your wish and also unify with all other wish to make it stronger and stronger and stronger to go forward all together. Thank you so much.
In celebration of the Flame of Hope here at the International Peace Museum, please help me welcome Queen Zabriskie from the Coretta Scott King Center.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to read the Flame of Hope poem. In the realm where hope's flame gently gleams, a beacon bright, inspiring hopeful dreams, the flame of hope, a steady guide, ignites the spirit, standing tall with pride. Within the season for nonviolence, it's embraced, a call to hearts and kindness interlaced. Following the path of Gandhi and King, a symphony of peace, let their legacy sing. A dance of love and understanding, a timeless chant where Gandhi's wisdom and King's courage enhanced. As the flame dances upon the stage, a tale of nonviolence echoing through every age. In every flicker, a promise anew, a world transformed where compassion grew. Witness the journey, the noblest quest of Gandhi and King in hearts manifest. The season for nonviolence, a sacred pledge where empathy reigns and hearts find rest. With hope's flame burning, a radiant glow, a legacy of love, in their footsteps we go. Let this flame illuminate the path we tread in the season for nonviolence where all are led. May its warmth inspire, may its light endure, a beacon of love guided by wisdom pure. Now, it is my privilege to introduce Yusuf El Zain of the Dayton Sister City Committee. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you. My name is Yusuf El Zain of the Dayton Salfit Palestine Sister City Committee and a proud member of the Board of Directors here at the International Peace Museum. As the flame of hope radiates warmth and positivity here tonight, let us listen to the wisdom of the two peace legends that inspired the season of nonviolence. The late Gandhi and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. May they rest in soul and peace.
There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is this unseen power which makes itself felt and yet defies all proof, because it is so unlike all that I perceive through my senses. For I can see that in the midst of death, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists. In the midst of darkness, light persists.
I still have a dream. Because you know you can't give up in life. If you lose hope somehow, you lose that vitality that keeps life moving. You lose that courage to be, that quality that helps you to go on in spite of. So today I still have a dream. Men will rise up and come to see that they are made to live together as brothers. I still have a dream this morning that one day every Negro in this country, every colored person in the world will be judged on the basis of the content of his character rather than the color of his skin. And every man will respect the dignity and worth of human personality. I still have a dream today that one day the idle industries of Appalachia will be revitalized. Empty stomachs of Mississippi will be filled, and brotherhood will be more than a few words at the end of a prayer, but the first order of business on every legislative agenda. I still have a dream today. One day, justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I still have a dream today. And in all of our
I can't follow those words, can I? However, let me introduce myself. My name is Paul Morrow. I'm a visiting assistant professor at the University of Dayton in the Human Rights Center. Students in my class this semester are completing a project called the Nonviolence Archive, where they're going to be documenting what's beginning here this weekend at this museum and what's continuing through early April this semester. And I hope that students in the future will continue documenting a movement that's begun here today. I welcome you to speak to the students who are here tonight, Grace Valentine and Grace Bully. They're sitting around the corner over here. But for now, it's my job to welcome two of our honored guests here to Dayton, Ohio, and to the Dayton International Peace Museum. I'm going to begin by inviting up to the lectern Tushar Gandhi, son of Arun Gandhi, and the great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much. It's overwhelming to see the turnout today. I lost my father last year and my mother in 2007, and almost 4 decades ago, they had started the season of nonviolence in Memphis, Tennessee. And in their time, the movement had spread to almost 36 cities in the United States. And I believe one happened in Dayton also. There are people who remember that. And so when we were talking with the Peace Museum, I broached the subject of reviving the season in Dayton under the auspices of the museum, and my friend Teddy over here, she took it up, and I'm very happy to see that it's getting started over here, and it feels as if it's going to remain, and not only remain in Dayton, but Dayton will inspire other cities to also celebrate this season. I have always been very aware of the legacy I have inherited, and also very aware of my own insignificance, because it's only by the accident of birth that this light shines on me. There are several over here who, by their sheer ability and knowledge, outshine me greatly, but sometimes what you inherit also brings responsibilities, and so I try to obey those responsibilities to the best of my abilities. I have still miles to go before I can claim to be worthy of the legacy I have inherited, but with all your support and blessings, I intend to do whatever little I am capable of doing. Generally, people want to hear about my ancestors from me because, frankly, there's nothing much I can speak about myself over here. So I'd like to share a story, because we always think of my great-grandfather as the great person and a titan of a man and things. But what made him truly great was his humbleness, and the director has ordered. I need to speak closer to the mic. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And so we always think of him as the great person and a titan of a human being. But what made him truly great was his humility and his acceptance of responsibilities of others which were best, which they were best allowed to live by. And so this small story, before I end, I've been given only 5 minutes. My wife always complains that when I start talking, I never stop. So I'm going to try to do that. But I thought I would share this personal family story with all of you here. I was unfortunate that I wasn't born when my great-grandparents were alive. So I could not sit at their feet and learn from them. But my good fortune was that my grandmother and my father spent quite a lot of their lives with my great-grandparents. And as a child, their experiences and their interactions with our ancestors became my growing up stories. And so this was one story when my father, as a 13-year-old kid, I think that was on the first trip, so he was about 7 years old at that time, was staying with his grandparents in one of the ashrams. And he developed a high fever. And in Bapu's ashram, it was always nature cure. That was the remedy for all ailments. And Bapu believed that like all bad habits, or even ailments needed to be purged out of the body. And the method of purging was starvation. And so he prescribed that my father had to be starving, kept starving, no food for 4 days, because he said 2 days to purge out the germs and then 2 days to cleanse the system so that those germs don't come back again. So the only intake was warm water throughout that thing. 2 days later, I don't know whether it cured him or he was too hungry to bother about the fever. The fever went down and he started asking for food. And Bapu said, no, 2 more days of starvation, you need to be completely cured. We need to ensure that the fever doesn't come out. So, third day passed. On the fourth day morning, Dad started howling with hunger. And Bapu said, no, 1 more day. If we interrupt the cure, then there is a likelihood of a relapse. So you must go through 1 more day of starvation. And by the afternoon, my father was throwing a fit. He said, I want food. And Bapu said, no, my son, 1 more day. Believe me, you will be much better off. My grandmother was crying because she couldn't see her son suffering so much. And she pleaded with Bapu. She said, he's now okay, he's fine. Bapu said, you feel he's fine. But if you interrupt the treatment, he's going to fall ill again. Maybe not tomorrow, but 1 week down the line. So bear with me. So this argument was going on. My father was howling away for food. And then Kasturba enters the room with a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. And she walks up to her grandson, picks him up, places him in her lap, and 1 teaspoon at a time starts feeding the orange juice. And everybody is quiet because Bapu is being defied. Ouch! Now what's going to happen? And Bapu looks over there, he looks at Kasturba feeding her grandson and has a smile on his face, and he says, the British Prime Minister listens to me, but my word means nothing in this court. If she thinks she has to feed her grandson, that's the way it's going to be. So this was the human face of that person that made him truly a titan of his times. And I think these are the facets that we all must understand and know of to humanize the person, because many a times we put great people on a pedestal and then tell ourselves that we are mere mortals, so we cannot try to emulate things that they did. And then we make their legacy distant from us. And so I believe that if we recognize them as human beings just like all of us, it'll be much easier to follow them and emulate them. And so I have made it my life's mission to introduce the man, not the titan. Thank you very much.
I can't help feel that there is some greatness in this room, nevertheless, from everything we just heard. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Reverend Joel King, Jr., cousin of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. He's trying to give me orders because my wife not with me no more. So she tried to step in his place, my cousin there. So I lost that beautiful young lady that said she wanted to marry me 38 years ago. And then we was vacationing in the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, and she said, well, I won't leave you here, Joel. See you later. It was an interesting weekend and month in June and July of this year because I lost my aunt on my mother's side that passed in June of that year. On her 84th birthday, she went on home. And she helped raise me when I lost my mother when I was 4. Then I going to New York to bury her. And did the committal of my aunt on my mother's side, my babies, my mother's baby sister. And the phone call came in from the gravesite, said Christina just passed in Atlanta. And I whispered over to my wife. I said, well, that's two. Death usually comes in threes when it comes to your family. Who's going to be number three? So we're making arrangements to go to Atlanta to say goodbye to Christine and ready to go and switch planes from the Dominican Republic back to the States to get to Atlanta because they made the celebration on the weekend. And I said, well, you can go there. She said, okay. But Wednesday of that week, we were there in the Dominican Republic. She said, no, I ain't going to Atlanta with you. I'm going to fly away. But remind me of those three deaths, and as we all face death in the past 2 years with COVID and just death period. But I remind an old hymn of the church says to all of us, oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pains we bear. And it's all because we not take it to the Lord in prayer. To the flame people tonight that tell us to put our wishes in that flame, we have to take it to the Lord in prayer. This weekend has been a blessing to me and my cousin as we come to share with this museum in the city of Dayton. I read about you. I used to pastor in Urbana, Ohio, up the street from you. So I know what goes on in Dayton too, even though I live in Columbus. And I bring you greetings from the Ohio Martin Luther King's Holiday Commission. And there were some calendars around here somewhere. If you didn't get one, go by your city hall. They got a lot of them over there. Wright State has some, and the other center here in Dayton, Street Centers that has some of those calendars. Your tax dollars at work, so go get some, please. I don't want to print them every year and then they collect dust. It's a historical piece for your children, grandchildren, offspring, so the students, and some of us who have forgotten our history, who forgot this flame of hope, who forgotten the Gandhi's family, who forgotten the King family. Oh yes, we celebrate 95 years his birthday this other week, but all we did just took him off the shelf another year. Hi Martin, how you doing today? Thank you for what you did, but you gone, so put it back on the shelf. We go back business as usual. We still got business as usual in the state of Ohio, where a young person has to go to another state to get an abortion. We still got problems in this state where our legislators think it's not good enough to pass a minimum wage, but they want to make sure their wages go increase. I say vote them all out and they start all over. Not only in Ohio, but in Washington, D.C., the representatives and the senators, some of them have been too long. And we as American people have not moved the latch down yet. And I tell everybody now as we prepare for this new election, locally and nationally, you have the power in your hand. What nonviolence means, you have the power. Joshua told the children around the walls of Jericho, when I tell you to do this, in 7 days the walls will come down. And Martin had 7 more people, Rosa Parks, on that bus instead of the 4 men that got up and left. If there had been men that day, we would have stopped segregation way before 381 days. The March on Washington is 250,000, not 250,000, but 5 million people would have been in that march. And even not that march, the last march, or any march, could make a difference. And even here in Dayton, Ohio, with all your killers you got down here, like we got as many in Columbus, it's bad too. We can make a difference starting with me. That's what the flame of hope about. That's what God is trying to say. You can make the difference. You can make the difference from these next 364 days, not just for these 364 days that we talk about, these 2 young people. But what are you doing in your home? What are you doing in your community? What are you doing in your churches, in your schools, when your kid can't count back from buying a big bag from Wendy's, or McDonald's, the change you gave them? They had to wait till it comes up on the machine because they ain't got sent up to count it back to you. Because we have not taught them That's what we do. What did I do? It begins just at that. When your child called mama, they said they don't like me. So, who cares? They ain't like Jesus. So who do you think you are? I mean, that's the kind of conversation we got to have with our kids, our grandkids. They think they enjoy this multiracial gathering and dating and marriage. Do you know less than 50 years ago, that wasn't happening here, anywhere in this country? I couldn't love nobody because I had to hide it. Yet our slave masters, that's what they want to do with our women. And now I'm talking about the men in the black community, not men. Well, how can I be a man? You done took everything from me. But now you got a governor saying, well, we got to write that part of history out because we don't want our folks to know that. Why not? What you scared of? What you afraid of? Stand up and be men and women, boys and girls in your community, in your family, and let it begin with you. Yes, oh, what needless pains we bear. Oh, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. That's it.
Such a powerful call to action. Thank you, Reverend King. I'm Tennille Love, and I am with Sinclair, and I also have the blessed privilege of serving as a member of the board of directors here for the Peace Museum. And I'm delighted to introduce you to our peace tree. This is a symbolic representation of our collective aspirations for a world filled with harmony and unity. This peace tree isn't just a decorative feature, but rather it's an invitation for the entire community to contribute their reflections on peace. So tonight I do invite you to take a moment to express your thoughts and hopes for peace on one of these tags and include it on the peace tree with your messages. During a season for nonviolence, this tree will stand as a visual testament to the diverse voices that converge here in the pursuit of a more peaceful future. Your participation adds a personal touch to the shared commitment we all hold for a better world. Thank you for being a part of this most meaningful collaboration. And please take a moment to contribute to our peace tree and let it become a powerful symbol of unity through shared intentions. Enjoy your visit, and may your messages of peace resonate within these walls. Thank you.
Now for the part that you've all been waiting for. We are going to invite our Director of Education here at the International Peace Museum, Alice Young-Bosora, to the stage, and also a great friend in peace, Felicia Chappelle.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. This has been an amazing event to plan, and Felicia and I were sitting in the back kind of mesmerized by hearing both Gandhi and King's words hit differently somehow tonight. And knowing that we're all here together to be a part of this season for nonviolence it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the people in this room tonight. And the people that showed up as guests of ours and people that showed up just because I feel your enthusiasm. And I've talked to you about this over the past year. And I'm just grateful that you're here. And I'm humbled by this moment. And so Felicia and I'm going to let you speak in a minute, but we're about to invite our guests up to the stage and have a conversation and ask some questions and hopefully learn a little bit more about them than we knew before in a different way. So.
Yeah, hi everybody, I'm Felicia, and one of the things that we're hoping to accomplish is that a glimpse of insight into what it feels like to stand in the shadow of greatness. So there's this arch of greatness that was created by relatives of people who are here with us today. There's a bit of greatness in all of us, like we speak about when we speak about the flame of hope. And conversation and communication and questions is kind of like an inroad into how we can all achieve a little bit of greatness ourselves as we strive for the ideas of peace and unity and equity and things that have been long fought for and things we hope to see in the nonviolence that we're silently hoping for.
So I'd like to invite to the stage Brian Polkinghorn, Tushar Gandhi, Gregory Foster, and Reverend Joel King.
Even though it's been touched on a little bit, we are talking about what it feels like having a historical figure in your family, how that travels through each of you as you've walked in your path in this life. Each of you has a unique perspective as a family member of a prominent figure, and we're hoping that you'll share one of the memorable moments. Give us an anecdote that you personally witnessed or experienced with your family member and how that moment has left a lasting impact on your commitment to the principles that we're addressing here with peace and nonviolence.
Thank you very much. The way my grandmother introduced me to the legacy that I was born into, the family that I was born into, was very unique. As a child, she told me, she said, Tushar, you are like a plant that has sprouted in the shadow of a mighty tree. And no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to move out of the shadow it casts. So it's up to you whether you want to take that shade as security and protection and thrive under it, or you want to take that shadow as a curse and be stunted and shriveled and not fulfill what you have to do. All my life I have always lived in the shadow of people who cast bigger shadows than me. And in my 64th year of life, suddenly the shadows were removed. The shade that I had was removed. And it's a bit dazzling. The sunshine that I experience now is a bit dazzling because last year I lost my father. And once I was asked if I could, I think, Brian, you asked me, didn't you? What? You asked me to take a name of something, a character that I am, kind of thing. And I said, I'm the shadow man. I live in shadows. Yeah. And now those shadows are gone and I feel alone.
Can I add something to that real quick? I'm a friend of the Gandhi family, and I worked with Arun for 23 years. And I know you always worried about that shadow, but just like your dad would talk to your daughter in saying, your greatness will come, it's just there. It's like, it's inevitable. And it's inevitable. It's there. It's always been there. It's just now you've carried the torch. And here's the thing, all these guys carry the torch. And that's what makes it magic, to be so close and watch it. There you go, brother.
Thank you, my friend. You know, as I sit here and listen to my cousin over the weekend talk about his job that he did for 40 years and still do on the side. And when people ask me that question, I was 17 when Dr. King was assassinated, so I never got to meet him personally. I always wish I had. In fact, he's one of my passwords in my accounts that you put passwords in, you know. Great person you want to meet, Martin Luther King Jr. Why? Just because. And my dad said, don't worry about where you met him or not. You do your thing. But my grandmother raised me on my mother's side. So I didn't get the privilege I wanted to get the privilege. Everybody asked me, well, what it was like me? Well, I don't know what it was like me. All I know, he was a bad man. And he did bad things in his life. But I just wish we had really picked up what he tried to tell us and still trying to tell us now, even after we got the holiday. And I tell people sometimes, really, I'll be sitting up here in a straitjacket. I witnessed my mother shot and killed at 4. At 17, Dr. King. A year later, a month later, well, when 63, when I was 12, when President Kennedy was killed. So that's 1 K. The second K was King in 68. The third K was King in 68. What are you trying to say? What are you saying, Joel? Ku Klux Klan. King, Kennedy, King. King, Kennedy, Kennedy. 3 Ks. The headlines when Dr. King was killed and then Robert Kennedy, the 3 Ks are gone. That was, to American people, we told you who did it. You still don't believe us. We don't wear sheets. We in suits and ties. Big hats on Sunday morning. Stelson shoes. Still plotting to fight you against each other. Why sit up and make all the money? And we talk about the dope. We talk the border person that's going on the border. Don't worry about the people that's coming from Brazil and South America. And you just let all of the certain people come over here. Let them all come. You came over here. You just didn't come the way some of us did. And then you want to stop the border wall. Don't let them come in. Well, why don't you go back and find out why they are leaving their country? When our own government, as Dr. King said about the Vietnam War, is the greatest perpetrator of violence in this world. We're seeing the same thing in the Middle East right now. Every bomb they drop, every missile they shoot, that's dollars out of your pocket that could feed your kids, send your kids to school, pay some of your bills down instead of buying all that military. Oh, we're not in it. We don't have our soldiers on it. Yeah, right. This is America. Be real to yourself. That's what we've been trying to say all this weekend. Let's don't sit here and be so divided and watch the other people get over on us, all of us. Because after they finish shooting me, they coming after you. When they ain't got no more black boys to shoot, who you think they coming after? When they ain't got no more black girls to rape, who you think they coming after? You. Don't care what your color is, don't care what class of life you are, you are next on my totem pole because I'm for money, power, and prestige. That's what the legacy. But is it hard? Oh, yes. There ain't need to be no king because they hated him in 68. When he came out against Johnson, the whole nation hated him. The whole black church hated him. He couldn't preach nowhere in this country in 1968. But now, Dr. King, you're the love of our life. The greatest thing that ever happened to America. Oh, please. Let's get real. He's dead. And the only thing I showed you in those deaths of those 3 people, that I can get you too. You're not inedible either. Think about it. As you watch that flame, as you watch this weekend, the next 64 days, as we get up to this next election, what are you going to make a difference about? Thank you, that's enough.
He pretty much said it all. For me, I can recall getting on a Greyhound bus at age 8, 9, and 10, and 11, going to a city called Greensboro, Alabama. Our family was in a city called Marion, Alabama, but Greensboro was not that far away from there, and my mom and dad used to tag me, put a little money in my little envelope, put me on the Greyhound bus. The Greyhound bus was for blacks only to sit in the back. So as a child, I was able to sit in the front because there was a white bus driver that had to take care of me. So I was one of the few that was able to do that. I had no idea of my family heritage or anything at that age. I would go to my grandmother, my maternal grandmother's house. I would sit on the porch with her and her friend and the mailman, and they would sit and talk about things that were going on in Alabama, the marches. I was young. I was trying to, pick up what they were saying. I was pretty smart. They was just talking about things that were going on at that time in Alabama. I used to walk from one part of the town. It was a little small town, but I had friends. I became friends with individuals, so I would walk. Main Street was the big, beautiful plantation houses that were up and down the street. Beautiful houses. But my grandmama used to say, baby, when you go down Main Street, headed down the depot, that's where the poor folks live, she said, when you see a white woman walk past, you cross across the street and you hold your head down. Don't look at her. Don't even speak to her. And that's what I grew up doing at that time, never realizing, one, that the mailman that was sitting on the porch was Coretta Scott King's uncle. No, it's her brother. That was Obie Leonard. That was her brother sitting there. So I learned a lot of things before I even knew that I was even related to them. It was not until, Carolyn, get the picture. Get the one real quick. I'm sorry. It was not until the family reunion. Yeah. It was not until I was older that I got to find out who she was. We went to a family reunion. That's my mom and Coretta and myself. I was older. My mother kept that away from us as kids because one of the things, when I was going to Alabama, I could have been hurt or killed because the kids down there, the young people, older people would always call me the N-word when they see me walking down the street. I wasn't allowed to say anything, but I did. I said things back, and I went to the whites-only store, and they said, that must be Amy grandson. He from the north. He don't know no better. Yes, I did. But it was not, I did not know anything about who I was related to until I went to that family reunion. But it just goes to show at a young age, I was already feeling something about me, inside of me, that I was a change maker in the community that I was in my church. I was active. I was trying to get young people, the kids I played with, saw something different in me because I didn't do the same thing that other people did. I didn't fight each other. I didn't fight. It was just something there. So I think there was something in me growing up that I knew that there was a change in me, that I was to be something different.
I'm going to ask one more general question for everybody, and then I'm going to get specific. So in what way today do you see that, I mean, obviously we're all here focused on the same 64 days coming up and the importance of that and changing our world in any way that we can. But what, I guess, specific thought do you have on what we can do and what we should be doing to work towards nonviolence and the teachings of these men? And I know three of you are family, and one is a friend with, I'm sure, very interesting stories. So whatever inspiration you've taken out of your legacy and I guess mission that we should be focused on collectively and individually, I'd love to hear it.
My father, the late Arun Gandhi, always called himself the peace farmer. And when somebody asked him what does he do, he said, I sow crops of peace. And I'm hoping that there will be a harvest of peace, whether I enjoy it or not, but at least there will be a harvest of peace. And so I think we all need to be planters of seeds of peace and not bother about whether you get a bumper harvest or not. Because in today's world, I think even a small plant with a few fruits is something that brings us hope for the future, because every fruit will have some seeds which can be replanted. So I think what we need to do is just think of ourselves as planters of peace and let nature play its role and let that seed germinate into a plant, into a shrub, into a crop, and let that circle of life continue.
Amen. So I don't know how many classes I taught with him since 2000, but I saw Arun sow peace. And he always talked about being a peace farmer. He always ended his classes telling the students how much he loved them. And he was impressed with them as much as they were in awe of him, because he knew they had the ability to go out and do good. And Arun would spend so much time with them in terms of what your potential could be, like how big can this tree be? Can it be a mighty oak tree? So he would go all the time and say, there's so much more to you. You just don't know it yet. Be patient. It'll come. Make sure, give yourself the room and the light and the water and the sun to make those things happen. One of the things I like in particular with him is he lived by metaphors, and he wrote a book. We begged him for like 10 years. Tushar and I were on him, write this book. And it's called The Gift of Anger. Has anyone ever heard of it? Read it, The Gift of Anger. And so what he's done is he compiled the stories that he told. And I've got students that are now in their mid-40s that still remember this. And I think what Arun was doing is he was making a moment, and he was charring it into their memory that I took a class with this guy, and he changed my life. And it's our job as adults to work with young people to create memories, not just for our children, but for everybody. Yeah. And hook that to something that's cool. Nonviolence is actually a really cool thing, but we have a tidal wave of a lot of people pushing back. In the work that we do is not seen as being cool, but that's okay. We can work against that. I'm not trying to fight anybody. I'm just trying to do things differently, kind of like you. I aspire to be you. Here you go.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a hand. I recall, there's so much stuff I'm trying to recall. Daddy King would always tell us every time we lose someone. We just lost Dexter 2 or 3 days ago. In the same month, his mother died in on January 30th, and like January is just not good to us. No. And he always said to the family, always thank God what you got left. And I remember those words when I was burying my wife. I got a 31-year-old son. He's back home now. He's trying to go out there and do the American dream, get his own apartment. That's a joke. School bills, and can't make no money off of what little money he got. But we got people sitting up in the White House and in our house and every other house telling you, well, you don't need the money. Work, pull yourself up by your own bootstrap, but you ain't give me no boots. And then they want to know why young people ain't go out and make it right now. An apartment costs $1,500 when you can get everything. $1,500 you can pay the water bill, the light bill, everything's all in that. Not just $1,500 just for the rent to be in the house. Then you got $500 for the electric, $500 for the gas, $500. I mean, we're nickel and dime our young people definitely want to know why they can't make it. Really? Yeah. I mean, we need to get back serious with our you said it, back to our kids training, and not only kids, we got memory lapses as adults. Oh, that's 60 years ago. We doing fine. No, you're not. When you live in paycheck to paycheck, you ain't doing fine. You just trying to exist. And we got to get out the existing mode and get in the mode that we're going to make a change in this world, in this country. I want to share with this audience that as we speak here today, there's a Martin Luther King Center and the Ebenezer Baptist Church right now in the center of Havana, Cuba. I visited there 3 times. Went down there and spoke nonviolence with the family and myself and Otis Moss out of Cleveland and Jesse Jackson. And we've been there 3 times to build that center up to do what you're doing here. And then I met the Brazilian prime minister. He had Martin III go there to do the same thing in Brazil, in that part. So it's already spreading around the world, but I don't want it to lose itself in our country because the world has it. Because this is what I say, our thing. It's all our thing because nonviolence takes care of all of us because it needs all of us. King didn't want to be he didn't want to be a preacher that long, be a leader of a civil rights movement. His dad had to force him, not force him until he got the calling. And in the black church, we call our preachers. We don't, but the Lord does. You all think you all call them. And that's a difference. My point being is, if God didn't call you, you ain't on the right track. And King fought that all his life. Be a preacher, to be a leader. I want to go be a professor somewhere, take my wife, come back to Alabama, and live my life as an educated black man and go on. But then everybody, Poe Avenue, had to push King into the movement and told him, said, no, you got to be the leader, and they want to hear you. The last night that King talked to this country, to this world, Abernathy had to go get him out of bed, call him out of bed in Memphis, Tennessee. They didn't come to hear me, Martin. They wanted to hear you. Please come down here. They don't want to hear nothing about no David Abernathy tonight. They want to hear Martin Luther King Jr., the last speech he gave to those people in Memphis. And he didn't want, and then the staff didn't want him to go there. He was planning for the Poor People's March. And we still got to finish that part of history up that we didn't finish up yet. They laughed at Abernathy when he took over the Poor People's March because they stayed there for 40 days, I believe it was, that 68. And the government said, no, you can get these huts out of here. We don't want America to see all this. We better than that. But we got to bring them back to remembrance. We got people sleeping on streets today in Dayton, Ohio, in the richest country in the world. Can't get Medicare, can't get medication, can't afford it. But we live in our final. You know, what amazes me about our society, we all live in the suburbs, We went to bought the suburb house because when I come home, I don't see nobody in the neighborhood. I wave you out through my car, push my button so the garage door open and go in there. I'm gone for the rest of the evening. In the morning, I wave at you, push my button and go by. We don't even talk to each other. Don't even know who our neighbors are. In 2024, in Dayton, Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, we don't even speak to the neighbor on our street. Now, I got a lovely neighbor I love so much. I call Miss Nosy. But I love her because if something go wrong in my house, she on the phone. Reverend King? Somebody in the back of your house. Reverend King? The shutter done blew up. She'd call my wife off when she was living and everything. But I say, that's your nosy neighbor. I said, but she good to be nosy. It's good to have nosy neighbors sometimes. Good to have some nosy friends. Just don't tell them all your business. God bless you.
Now I got to remember what she asked. But I think that family is important. We talk about our children. We talk about the seeds, and that I like that analogy because that seed is at home. That seed is the parent, and then those children grow from the seeds that are sown at home. So when those seeds, when those trees grow, your children are the trees. When they grow, then that means that they go out and they sow more seeds. And I think that's where that's how we did it in my home with my wife and my daughters. My parents did that. My mom worked to clean homes. I'll just say homes. My father didn't have an education, a third grade education. But he came home from working hard all day. He got cleaned up and he sat down and we got on his lap and we talked. I read books to him. I didn't even know he didn't even know how to read because I loved to read as a kid. So whatever I found out at school, I come home. So that's how we planted. It was my 3 older brothers lived in Alabama with my grandmother, so they were right in the heart. My brothers used to always say, "We gotta go and pick cotton first before we go to school." I didn't have to do any of that because I was up north and everything was fine. But see, no matter where our children were raised, long as those seeds are being sown, the good seeds are being sown, that's how we change our neighborhoods and change our communities. So I can speak on that I was fortunate to have a father and a mother at home. And the seeds grew in our home to put me where I am today. I remember those, and we sow our same seeds to our children. Our four daughters. I have a stepdaughter, so 4 daughters, and how many grandkids? 14. 14? Yeah, 14 grandkids. So we're sowing those same seeds to teach our children about peace and love, to try to keep some of that trauma, because I was a social worker for 40 years, so I know what trauma is, and I know what's dealing with a lot of community violence is too.
We're going to actually try to wrap it up with a couple of last questions, even though this is so phenomenally wonderful. This next question is a little harder, and it comes from a real personal place for me, but I'd like to ask you individuals about failure. Failure and success go hand in hand. So can you talk to us gently a little bit about the process for you in your life and failure?
Well, you asked the right person. I failed at almost everything I tried in my life. One of my bios on my social media profile was failed politician, because I tried my hands at politics and lost the election, and I learned a great lesson from it. That politics was not necessary to do good for society. And so failure is very dear to me, because all my life I have treated all my failures as learning lessons, and become aware of why I failed, and resolve not to make those mistakes ever again. So for me personally, failure is a very important teacher.
You said it all. If you don't take risks and reach a little bit higher than you think you can, you're not going to your full potential. So if you fail, you don't really fail. You tried hard. You tried to do something you weren't capable of doing at that time. So I have students, I fail all the time. And right, you know what? That's why we're so intelligent, because we learn so much from our failures. What do you learn from success? I mean, think about it. Don't you learn more from failure? Yeah, I got consensus here.
And the only thing you learn from success is ego.
Only thing you learn from success. That's true. If you win and you succeed all the time, that's true. So part of it is checking your ego, or being introspective and reflective, and seeing, like, what could I have done differently. Now, when somebody fails, when I fail, I got to figure it out. But if a student of mine fails, I always say, what did you learn? Not what did you do wrong or what were you thinking. That's an attack on the ego. But what did you learn? They're like, really, oh my gosh, I've had this happen. And over the years, you're gentle with this stuff. Because if you treat failure harshly to yourself or to others, they're not going to try again. So embrace it. It happens. We've all experienced it. We got something out of it, right? There you go. It's all yours, brother.
All right.
Keep it short.
Well, I remember one of my teachers told me I wasn't going to be a success. I said, is that a fact? And I remember him get up in the classroom and say, and one day he said, Joel, he said something about a question on the answer, a question on the test. He said, who pulled your chain? I said, my master. And he said, who could that be? Well, you a teacher. You could pull my chain and say I'm no good. I'm no good because you got your degree, I don't have mine. I'm no good because you made it through school, I haven't. Why you keep telling me I can't be nothing? And I took that, I said, okay, I'm gonna show you who I'm gonna be. And I've been doing that ever since. I remember in '68 when I led my first march in South Carolina. There was a friend of ours that was out with his pregnant girlfriend, and the police had beat him, pulled him out the car and beat her and him. But just driving around black, I guess. Didn't know the phrase at the time. And we got upset, and I was 17 years old, and we're going to lead a march against the police department. Neighbors, kids say, yeah, you going to lead a march? Yeah, I'm going to lead a march. We're going to march against the police station, the director. I remember the police chief came to me after that march, during the march. He said, young man, if I ever get you in my jail, I'm going to make a bloodbath out of you. I said, sir, I'm so glad you used the conjunction, if. I'll leave it at that.
I can recall some of my first failures was when I was in elementary school and I took art class. It might have been junior high. I failed. I couldn't even draw a stick person, so I couldn't pass art. I think I got a D, so I did pass. And then on to just life in general. The songwriter says, we fall down, but we get up. So there are many times that I probably have failed. Maybe I failed sometimes as a husband. I failed sometimes as a father. But then we fall down, but we get up. And that's how I look at failure. Never keep yourself, and I'll tell the young people in here, never stay down. Because you're down, you look up because there's somebody higher than you that can reach down and pick you up. All you have to do is give glory to the Most High, and He will lift you up. So don't never stay down because you can get up.
Okay, so I'm going to tell a bit of a story here to preface this next question, but I heard Tushar speak earlier this week to a school, and he did this exercise with us, and I'm going to describe it unless you'd like to do it. Do it? Okay. So everybody, by the speaker, everybody look to the person, find a partner, just somebody sitting next to you, and decide one of you is going to make a fist. So literally make a fist. And now the other person, I'd like you to try to have that person try to open their fist. Like literally, go for it. Did you see that one? I know, that was ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, now stop. Raise your hand if the first thing you did to open that fist was to use force. When I did this, that's what I did. And raise your hand if you used another technique. And I saw these two lovebirds up here. She kissed his hand and it immediately opened. Number one. I guess if you don't know each other, you probably wouldn't go to that first. But what else did other people try? Okay. All right. That's sweet. Looked in her eyes. Anyone else? Said, please. Okay. So my question, oh, Terry. She opened her hand for me. Aw. See? Same here. Okay.
Actually, that to me indicated that she has that nonviolent speaking aspect.
She definitely does, that one. So my question being that most of us went to force. to try to open up a fist. Is that human nature? Is that something we've learned? Why do we go, maybe biologically, why do we go to force as our first thought to get what we want or need?
I think what happens is as soon as the word challenge comes in, it sort of affects the part of the brain where egos reside. And in this particular challenge, what happens is one person says, hey, I'm going to open that fist come what may. And the other person says, let him try. Yeah. You know, and that ego, there's a clash of egos. But as soon as a kiss is applied or a plea is employed or or just a polite request is made, it appeals to the heart. And the heart is always something that does not allow one to deny a personalized appeal. So I think the first thing that happens is that the John Rambo within us gets active. And, you know, the fist gets tight or the claw gets more fierce. And that's where the heart doesn't come into play.
Can I follow that up with what can we do to counteract that instinct that we have?
I think the management term for this is think out of the box. If we can think out of the box and say, hey, this challenge could be tackled in a much better way, which would leave behind a better feeling for both of us, I think we would be able to respond. Because while we accept that challenge and try to be the victor, we're not thinking of the consequences of defeating the other person. And so we start a kind of chain of resentment and the vanquished and the victor kind of a thing. And so I think in this case, the management term think out of the box would help. My grandmother used to always tell me, because I used to be always bigger than in physique than my age. And so my mother used to always tell me, caution me that, you know, you are more strong, you need to be careful with your age group children and things. What happened was I got bullied all the time because my mother had told me, don't raise your hand if you hit somebody, you might hurt them more than you should and things like that. And my grandmother used to tell me a couple of times, you know, I came back home with bruises on my face and some torn hair and things. And she said, what happened? And I said, oh, that guy was bullying me. So he said, what did you do? And I said, oh, but my mother told me never to hit back. So I just took it. And she said, she's told you not to hit back. She hasn't told you not to prevent yourself from getting hit. And then she would explain that it doesn't mean that you have to hit back. It's just that you have to politely request the person to not hurt you. And let's be friends and not be enemies. And it worked for me. It worked for me. Maybe my friends were good people. That's why it worked. And they started believing in that. Maybe it was because they realized that, hey, this guy, if he hits back, we're going to really get hurt. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm having so many flashbacks right now of his father. But if you think anger and aggression is an instinct, then you better think love is too. I'm looking at you guys. No, seriously. We want to nurture our children. We have that an instinct to do these sorts of things. How many of you are parents? And how many of you love your kids? And how many of you said you loved each other tonight? Huh? I love all of you. You can tell. You can go tell her you love her. You get to that too. But the point is, it's about relationships and what they mean to us. And you can risk everything, but not relationships. And I think what Arun was teaching is we kind of miss You travel around the world and try and go to all these gurus and try and get all this wisdom and whatnot. And you can sit right here in this seat right now and go on the most important journey of your life, which will get rid of some of these things that are nagging about we're not very good or whatnot. It's a short distance from here to here. And literally, when you connect yourself and say, who am I and how do I relate to people, we can create another box. And this is where Arun and I got in big trouble. I'll make this real quick. We always did this thing at the end of our class, and he was Randy Jackson, I was Simon Cowell. And we didn't have Paula Abdul, but if I had a grad assistant, we would have had her, but we didn't. So it's two of us, and the students would do all these great projects, and we'd sit there and go and give them really constructive feedback, and then it happened. I'm in a Chinese restaurant. I'm glad we thought about this. And we scratched something out on paper just in case they ask, because they're going to hey, what are you contributing to this class? 'Cause we taught the class, but what we contributed to at this one particular time kind of gets to this thing. If you want to live a structured life, you have to say, well, where are my metaphorical walls, or what will they be? And I mentioned this last night just briefly, but if you start off completely with respect, and it's kind of like, yes, sir, right? You start off with respect, you're going to get past the possibility of trigger violence right away, and the misperceptions and misattribution and misunderstandings and all that sort of stuff. And if you go right into acceptance and into recognition and basically building walls of good things, you can then kind of expand those later on. But it just is some way for you to remember, how do you want to be treated? And it kind of gets to the good book, but how you can prevent the violence in the first place. And so I watched Arun do this for 25 years. Quarter of a century, I watched this guy do this, and he got in some pickles. Your dad, talking about stories, he got himself into some situations, not of his own doing, but it was elegant and graceful the way he handled it. He took people who were hot-headed, looking for trouble, police officer, one, what do you call those counters in airports? The check-in counter person? Ooh, boy, I would rather go an 800-pound gorilla than one of them. And just going crazy, and watch how he perfectly handled it. They knew they were in the presence of somebody cut from a special cloth, kind of like Martin Luther King, and kind of like your great-grandfather. Enough said.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. He mentioned about the think outside the box. I don't think outside the box, but stop looking at the box as your TV. and your new device is this. Worst thing we ever made. 'Cause I used to go when I leave home, I'd worry about the phone ringing. Now I got to stop, grab it when it's driving because it rained. Who is it this time? And usually it ain't rain tonight. It usually rain in the middle of something. So what part be? Think outside the box. Don't get embedded into the box that you are looking at, or the phone that you are listening to, or the tic-tac or whatever you're on social media. Tic-tac, TikTok, whatever you call it.
Right.
That's what it's tacky.
TikTok.
But my point being, get our mind back to this is a human being.
Yeah.
You and me, I'm you. I don't want nobody to do nothing to me. Then don't do it to nobody else. You don't be lied on. Don't tell no lie on nobody else. You don't get disgraced. Don't disgrace somebody else. Respect. And even though sometimes I know when police, we try to respect them, they still say you still are in. But that's the sickness in our society that we have created in our society. We showed our Westerners, If you go back to watch your old Indian pictures tonight, every time they circle the wagon, they kill all the Indians. But before the commercial break, the same amount of Indians ride off. I'll leave it at that.
When we did the activity of trying to pull our hands open, the thing that I usually think about is power and control. And I think society has ingrained in us when we watch TV and when we do things, you either have power and control or you have nothing. Growing up in Cincinnati at an early age, I was driving the car. I was at University of Cincinnati student. I was headed to the police station. My class was a criminal justice class, and I was taking the paperwork to the assistant chief of police, who was our professor. I had to take those papers to him because he wasn't able to teach the class. I got stopped by a Cincinnati police officer. I was driving a 1976 Chevy Caprice Classic. It was loaded with sunroof and all that. He stopped me and he said, "Boy, where did you get this car from? Your mama food stamps?" And so the professor had the assistant chief of police had always told me, when the police come up to you, you have your driver's license out and insurance card out, and hand out. Don't be reaching for nothing. And you hand it to him and say, "Yes, sir." I'm talking about power and control. So you have to learn, you have to teach your kids, because even today, you got kids, you got young people, even old people talking about F you to the cops and to all of, just respect. It's about respect. So I think, just to keep it short, I think it's important that when we deal with power and control, we need to know inside, how do I handle that power? And there's a time to do everything. Like they say, live and die. There's a time to know when your power and control is not useful in certain situations. And if we teach our children that as adults, TV can mess us up too, the shows that we watch. And I'm not blaming TV for everything, but the music. One thing that we taught our kids, we learned earlier, is what's played in is played out. So what's played in is played out. So I'm hearing negative music, gangster, shoot this, MF this, money, 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 this and that. That's played right out. That's thinking you got that kind of power. You don't, because there's somebody else that got more power than you, and you have to know when to use your power and when to not. One of my favorite things is know when to hold, know when to fold, and know when to walk away. I've learned it, and I teach young people. As a retired social worker, I teach that to parents in doing workshops. I teach it to their kids. I teach it to the teachers, because they only have certain power too, and they have to know when to use that power and when to control it.
We'd like to take a few questions from anybody in the audience. A Q&A, briefly.
I don't have a question, but just a comment, what I've been hearing. I think we have Wright State University, UD, Sinclair, the city, the county representation here. I think we need to use the digital media to our advantage. Send positive messages. Every one of us can do that. And, collectively we can do that. I can assure you there will be many more peace museums in the country.
Anybody else? No. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to know if you could speak about one thing or some things, right, from the legacy of King and Gandhi that that inspires you and continues to keep you motivated and keep you going.
Any other questions? Oh.
We can take the second question and then take the... What do you want to do?
For me, real quick, just growing up, I never got a chance to meet my cousin Martin. I heard so much about Gandhi and Martin growing up, and I think just we need to educate ourselves. We need to learn to read more, and I think that's how I started. I read more about what cousin Martin had done, and then when I got to those family reunions and I started hearing Coretta talk about their legacy. But before that, she said, I was a Scot before I was a king. So she educated us on how our family connected with the king side of the family. So I think it's important to be able to, again, just read and to study, to read and to study, and to get the education, because the government has told us we don't want that in our schools. So if you can't have that in your schools, you can have those books in your home. So that's how you learn. That's what we did. We learned through the reading of what these great men have done. And I'm not great, but I learned some things from them and from my cousin Coretta.
Along that line, I would look at love history, and these two men have brought so much history to our world, not just to our country and their country, but to the world. And to piggyback on what my dad said, his dad said, make something of yourself. Make a difference in your family, in your life, in your community. Make a difference in your ministry. My dad used to be teased because he was a hooping Baptist preacher. And Daddy King used to tell me, all that stuff going out the wall, they don't go through all that hooping. He said, you preach your way, and I'll preach mine. And I've been doing the same thing. God bless.
I'm having so much fun sitting next to you. Inspiration, I would say Dr. King's Easter sermon on Mahatma Gandhi is incredible. He sums up not only Gandhi, but himself in a very modest way with the Beatitudes, the Sermon on the Mount, the things that Judeo-Christians would understand. And when it comes to your great-grandfather, we could go all night long, but I would say three things. One is, my life is my message. He did say that. There's so many things he said that he didn't say. One of the things he said is, people will follow me in life, they will revere me in death, but no one will make my cause theirs. That's not true. Look at this, look here. Yeah? I got living proof right around me. And then the last thing is, I heard this earlier, be the change you wish to see in the world. We know who said that, right? Gandhi did not say that. Tushar's father did. He translated it to modern English because it was in Hindi, and it was sort of a complicated thing. But we're all capable of being the change. We're all capable of picking up the torch and following it. We will make your cause our cause, and we will make our message our lives, because we already do it.
Well, I've been meaning to tell this story this whole evening, and I haven't got the chances yet, so I'm going to utilize this to just narrate this story, which I think is very important to understand the legacy. And this was in the year 1959 or 60. The government of India invited Dr. King and Coretta King as the state guests to come and visit India, and they were taken around the whole country. When they arrived in Mumbai, Dr. King requested that he wanted to go to Gandhi House straight from the airport. Now, there is a house that was owned by my great-grandfather's friend, and every time he visited Mumbai, he would stay with his friend. And some of the very important events in our freedom struggle happened in that house. So after we got the freedom and after my great-grandfather was murdered, the friend donated the house to the country and said, we must make it into a museum. And so it was made into a museum, and it got famous as Gandhi's home. And so Dr. King requested that he wanted to go directly over there, and he was taken to the museum. And now one of the rooms where my great-grandfather spent his entire day when he was staying in that house has been kept in the same manner as it was when he was there. And it's been glass partition, so nobody is allowed to go in, but you can take a look at how it was in Bapu's time. Bapu is my great-grandfather, as I call him. Bapu means father. So Dr. King requested the director of the museum to allow him to step into Gandhi's room. And they couldn't say no, so they opened the door for him. And Dr. King went and sat near the mattress where my great-grandfather used to sit and work. And he asked to be left alone over there. And he sat down and meditated over there. And the hours passed by and Dr. King wouldn't get up. So when it was nearing time to close the museum, the director went and requested Dr. King that he would have to leave because they had to close down the museum. And he turned around and said, I want to live in Gandhi's house. Now they had booked the presidential suite in one of the best hotels in Mumbai. And so everybody was in a flutter there. And the director was in a panic because there was no place to, accommodate him over there. And so she said, we don't have any facilities for you to stay in. And Dr. King said, just give me a bed sheet and spread it on the floor and I will sleep here, but I want to be where Gandhi was. And so finally, they hurriedly made arrangements. They got a cot and a fan, and they said, this is all we can provide. And Dr. King spent 3 nights in Mumbai. He would go every day to do all his official work and come back to the museum, sit in Bapu's room, and then spend the night in the museum. And when he left, he wrote in the visitor's book, he said, I have been in Gandhi's house and I have been in communion with Gandhi and I have felt him around me and he has recharged my resolve to go and fight for the rights of my people back home. And I go back with a commitment and assurance from Gandhi that I will succeed in the battle. I was in London a decade ago when the mayor of London, to celebrate the Black History Month, had invited me and descendants of iconic African leaders from all over the world. And Dr. King's daughter was there with me. And when I narrated this story to the audience over there, after my narration, she came up to me and she said, Tushar, now I understand why that happened, because from that trip when my father came back, we sensed that he was a changed man. And many a times when the family sat down for meals together, my father would say that, he felt like giving all these creature comforts up and embracing a life of poverty. And she said, as a child, we were terrified because we thought, one fine day, father was going to grab our hands and walk out onto the streets and say that we're going to start living on the streets now. And I was terrified. And now I understand that your great-grandfather was the culprit. And, so, you see, this was a man who had never seen Bapu, who had never met Bapu. And just that one experience brought about such a catharsis in his, and the resolve to fight for justice. And then I was in South Africa and I went to the Robben Island Museum where Nelson Mandela was arrested. And in his cell, there is a message that Nelson Mandela has left behind. And he said that they locked me up in solidarity, not knowing that I was never alone. Gandhi was in my cell. And this is, I think, what the legacy, the importance of the legacy is, that even so many years after the person is no more, that aura still inspires and energizes people all over the world. So it's not a hereditary thing. It's ideology, it's a philosophy. And that is where the hope is. Where the family fails, we in India believe in the universal family. And so I think the legacy is for the universal family.
This tall gentleman in the back is my big IMC.
Okay, we've got one more question back here, and then we're going to turn it over to Terry.
Thank you. Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi were both killed because they stood for justice in their time and opposing war, colonialism, racism. There are justice issues today, international issues. Immigration is an international issue also in here in this country. There's a war on that we are pretty involved in. And I wanted to see if you would address those in the spirit of those two leaders. And I asked Yusuf if he wants to make a more pointed question.
Yes, thank you. Just to help Alice also from not coming back and forth. So yesterday you touched me when you said, I'm paraphrasing, ask for sympathy and not support. So how can I ask you today to explain that to the audience here, as well as the peace lovers around Dayton, around the region, around the world? How can we apply that, ask for sympathy and not support for the Palestinian people in particular?
Well, I feel that sympathy will bring about support. You know, because if we look at issues in a sympathetic manner, then we can bring about. In this country, what I have noticed is that people are afraid to publicly express their sympathy and support with the Palestinians because there is a very vicious hounding of people. My father fell victim to that when he expressed the legitimate rights of the Palestinians, and he was forced out of the institute that he established in the US. He was forced to quit. He was thrown out of various articles and columns that he was writing and things. They were stopped. And for 5 years, he was completely banished from public life. And so I can understand why it is difficult for the public, for a public show of support. But if sympathy is created for the legitimate rights of Palestinians to a homeland, I think nobody can deny that. And it is a difficult task. Nonviolence in peace is not an easy road. It calls for a lot of sacrifices. But I think the world is now waking up to the legitimate rights of the people of Palestine, and out of that sympathy will definitely arise. Yesterday I talked about a cartoon that I wished was displayed in this exhibition, and my friend Evan looked it up and brought it up, and I'll read out and then I'll show you the cartoon. It says, Dr. King is standing and Bapu is sitting, and they are in heaven. And Bapu is telling Dr. King, the odd thing about assassins, Dr. King, is that they think they've killed you. And this is the cartoon. If you look, if you search on Google, you will see it. I think it is the most inspiring thing, where the tyrant always feels that he is oppressing the people. What he doesn't realize is that he is fueling the need for justice. And one fine day, from that, a force will grow out which will get rid of the tyrant. Oh, sorry. I wanted to give the mic.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. We're not quite done, but I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dr. Terry Orzi, who is definitely one of the reasons why we're here tonight. If it weren't for her traveling and meeting Tushar, this night never would have happened. Terry?
Where's Terry?
Terry. She's yeah. Do you guys? Would you like to sit here now? Good evening. I'm Terry Orsi of Wright State University and from the steering committee for the Season of Nonviolence here at the International Peace Museum. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this inspiring journey through the International Peace Museum Season of Nonviolence program. As the program comes to a close, on this night of reflection and unity, may the echoes of Gandhi's wisdom and MLK's dream linger in our hearts. Together, we've woven a tapestry of peace, and as we step back into the world, let us carry the torch of nonviolence forward. Your presence has made this evening truly special, reminding us that each small act contributes to a more peaceful world. Let the spirit of let the spirit of the season guide our steps, and may we continue to be ambassadors of compassion, understanding, and love. Good night, and may you carry the peace with you always.
Let there be peace on earth. So much turmoil in this world today. Bigotry, hatred, racism, xenophobia, and war. Lord, let there be peace on this earth. We pray that the Lord blesses all of us with the peace and love that we all deserve to have in this world. Amen. As we close this evening, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here and being an inspiration to us. We are the DC Ensemble, and we are in the community of Dayton, and we bring peace and hope in song. And we hope that what we presented to you, are going to present to you today, will bring you just that, to encourage you to keep on and strive to be a better you, as we strive to be a better we. Come on and put your hands together. Please be patient with me. God is doing something beautifully. He's shaping and molding me in every way. He is the potter and I am the clay. Oh, in God, I'm gonna be what He wants me to be. However long it takes. I don't really know. 'Cause when He gets through with me, I'll come forth and feel when God, I'm gonna be what He wants me to be. However long it takes. I don't really know. 'Cause when He gets through with me, I'll come forth and feel good. Sometimes I say things that I should not say. God is making me better every day. To be in His will is my only desire. I know with Him I'm going higher and higher when God is through me. I'm gonna be what He wants me to be. However long it takes. How long it takes, I don't really know. 'Cause when He gets through with me, I'll come forth and feel good. When my God, yeah, I'm gonna be what He wants me to be. However long it takes. I don't really know. 'Cause when He gets through with me, I'll come forth and feel good. Working on me, oh Lord, work on me, Jesus. Hey, working on my mind, working on my heart. He's working on me every single day, every hour, every minute, working on me. Fix me, Jesus. Fix me, Master. Fix me, Lord. Oh, when God, yeah, I'm gonna be however long
your hands together. How many, oh God, I thank you. I dare you to get up on your feet and help us praise the Lord tonight. He's been real good. Thank you for all you've done. Do-do-do-do, thank you. You've been real good. Thank you, yeah, Lord, for all you've done for me. I come to tell you thank you. Yeah, Lord, you've been real good. Hey, come on, y'all. Hey, I want to say thank you. Hey, thank you. Woo! For all you've done. Do-do-do-do, thank you, Lord. You've been real good. Thank you, Lord. For all you've done for me. I come to tell you thank you. Yeah, Lord, you've been real good. Hey. How? Hey, I want to say, listen. When I was lost, you found me. When I was sinking, you rescued me. When I was out, you pulled me in. You've been there with me through thick and thin. That's right. You keep on making a way, Lord. I want to say, let me say it like this. When I was sick, you healed me. When I was hurting, you comforted me. When I didn't know what to do, Lord, I trusted you and you pulled me through. That's, you keep on making a way. Yeah, Lord, I want to say, hey, thank you. Woo. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I come to tell him thank you. Thank you, Lord. He's been so good to me. He healed my body. He saved my soul. He made me whole, y'all. Anybody owing one, put your hand on it and tell the Lord much obliged. Didn't have to do it, but you did, Lord. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh, my. You did you know my? Oh, hey, I want to say, yeah.
Wow, right? Can we give one more round of applause to our special guest tonight? Everyone, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is our program for this evening. However, I understand. Has anyone in the room ever been to an Indian auction? Because I'm going to have a special auctioneer, and we are going to auction off a couple books with the proceeds going to the International Peace Museum. One more time, listen, your being here tonight means everything to us. I really hope that you were inspired in some way. Please check out our website during the season of Nonviolence. Gurang, thank you very much for your help as well. So many people to thank, but we're gonna do this quick auction, and I understand that if you are interested in getting a photo with our guest panels, we also have some gifts that are going to be, well, Tushar, I'll let you talk about this, okay? Terry, you come and talk about it. And I'm going to go get the, the books.
Okay. Do they know they're each getting one, or is that a secret? Barney, you're supposed to be helping me. Come on. We got to do this right. All right, you're going to hold the coin up. This is called a challenge coin. How many of you have challenge coins? You know about challenge coins? Do you know there's a secret way in which you give a challenge coin? So what you do is, I taught Tushar this weekend. You hold it in the palm of your hand, and you shake their hand, and it slides across. Now, what I didn't tell Tushar was that if you get caught in a bar and somebody calls out about having a challenge coin, everybody has to pull them out of their pocket, and the one that doesn't pull it out of the pocket buys the round of drinks. But Mr. Gandhi does not drink, so he left that a secret. So yes, I hope you like the challenge coins, because each of you are going to be receiving one today to remind you of this wonderful occasion. And is that enough? Yes. Okay. I don't necessarily like being center stage.
Can I also get this room to recognize someone that has put an amazing amount of time into this? My really good friend and sister, Alice Basora. This is not a one-time deal. We plan to do this here at the International Peace Museum each year with different speakers, obviously, each year. So stay tuned and get ready. Now, Tushar, you want to tell our guest about this book? We have 4 of them, and we are going to auction them off to the 4 high bidders tonight. And would you be humble enough to autograph it for them as well?
For the top bidders.
Yeah, for the top bidders.
So this is my book, my first book, Let's Kill Gandhi. It was first published in 2007. It is the only book that talks about the end, the last 4 years, and the conspiracy of his murder. I brought 4 copies with me, and those of you who are interested in history and in knowing about the times at that time and the conspiracy and the entire investigation and trial and everything, this is an encyclopedia of that time. So what do you want to keep the base price at?
Here's what I want to do. We have 4 of these. We're going to open the bid with $100 each. Who would like to donate $100 to the International Peace Museum and receive one of these books? We have 1 in the room here. Anyone else? $100. We have 2. Anyone else? Come on.
2 more going.
2 more going. We have 3. And we have 4. Thank you all.
4 gone. And as a bonus, I will autograph it for you.
Thank you once again for being here tonight. It means everything to us. Thank you. And if you'd like to get a photo with our guest speakers, we'll be bringing some chairs up, and you can receive the coin that Terry spoke of, okay? Thank you again, everyone.
So I'll let the 4 bidders open the book, and then I'll sign it for them.
Okay.
I need a pen, yes. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Kai, music. House music.
Terry, can I have something to drink first?
Yeah.
trying to come up first. There was no line. The guy, he said, go. There was no line. Let's just go.
Yeah, because we gotta get
Thank you so much. What's your name? Shannon. You're here from Dayton? All right. Come to Montreal sometimes.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Oh, yes. So, do you have Facebook or you have Messenger or anything? Or WhatsApp? Great. What's your number, please? Chat. I have to give the contact. Okay. Give the contact. How do I do it? Phone. Can you contact?
This institution does it this kind of work with young people?
Pardon me, sorry.
Perfect.
There you go. Are you involved in this church?
I work at Wright State here in the Victoria.
All right. So, you know each other. I got you. That was great event. First time we said people sold out. Actually, he doesn't know what to do.
Stand up.
There you go. This is my first one.
Self-purification comes first, and I usually think about this in very intellectual terms. So what you gave us was an embodied form where you're trying to shut out the flow of logos. So I really appreciate it.
Stop for some lunch. Yeah, we're gonna stop for the night for like
Yes.
for like a
4 hours. You might get to South Bend, Indiana. Yeah, that's where Notre Dame is. It's a very famous school. Yeah, I only know it's 4 hours away.
And I heard my students say they come from a different place, but they're probably thinking about self-care. It's probably their first. And they said,
Yeah, well, you'll have lots to tell all your friends when you get back to school, right? You will. Yeah.
And then we get a
traveling
coin.
like 3 different directions. Like this in your somewhere. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I'll keep following the plan. Yes, that's right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. And you're the star of the show. I don't know if they told you that.
I know, I was just telling her that.
Nice to meet you. I can see you're together. Yeah. So nice to meet you. Thank you.
I
together. That would make a great photo, right? All right.
You want to take it?
Yes.
Thank you. You could do one
Shoot.
this way.
Yeah.